Hey there everybody, Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I have a Stampin' Show and Tell for you today, and as you can see I've got lots of goodies on the table. We're going to be stamping with the Love Cats stamp set, okay, which you may have looked at and said, oh, that's a Valentine's Day set, but you know what, they're really cute cats, and hearts can be for any time of year or any kind of occasion. So I'm using my Love Cat stamp set. This is inspired, I'm actually going to be casing this demo swap I received. This was from Robin Greer. She's a fellow demonstrator. And I have this picture of this die, and I haven't used it very much, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to case this card. So copy and selectively edit the card. So here's the card I'm going to reproduce for you in my own way, and I'm going to show you some tricks that I came up with to make it happen a little bit easier. Okay, so the first thing I did, other than getting my cats out, was I went and found my dies. So this picture, this comes with two different dies, one's circle, one's rectangles. We're using the circle one today. So I have that, and then I thought, well, I really want to stamp all my cats and cut them at one time, especially if I decided I wanted, like she did this for a demo swap. If I was going to make multiples of this kind of card, I wouldn't want to have to stamp each image in its own little white paper and then take it to my die cutting machine and line it up with the different circles. I'd want to do it all at once. So I'm going to use my Stamparatus. So here's what I did. First I went with a piece of cardstock, doesn't matter, right, scrap, retired, whatever, and I went and I made myself a template. Okay, so I just ran that through my die cutting machine and made a template. Now this piece is the same size as the front imaging on my card. Okay, so they're going to go same place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my template here. Okay, and then I'm going to use a pencil. And I'm just going to, well, here, I'll make it easy. I'm just going to go ahead and line it up right on my grid paper. So I'm just going to make a little mark that that's where my top corners need to go. Okay, just as a little reminder, because first I'm going to line up my cat images, and then I'm going to take my template off, and then I'm going to stamp my cats. Okay, so here's my template on my grid paper. I've got it marked where my corners need to go when I take it off. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is line up my cat images. So this guy's going to go here, and so I have my hole, right, my little porthole I think of them as, and I'm just going to put my cat image in there so I know that his face is going to be peeking out there. And then I've got this guy I'm going to put down here. Okay, this is the way she had hers laid out. Now I can't put my third one down because they would overlap each other, so that's okay. These have two arms or back sides, so that's fine. So I've got these two cats pretty much where I need them to be. So I'm just going to swing my arm over and press them on. Okay, so that's how you position your stamps when you're creating with Stamparatus. Just kind of lay it out and then attach the arm. And now my stamps are going to be in the same spot all the time, and I know where my template needs to go, so I'm good. Alright, so now I've got my kitty cat for the top. So I'm going to put him in just like that. I'll make sure that he's in the window. And then I'm going to bring this one down and attach him. So I've got all three images, right, to go where I need them to go. Alright, so now I'm going to take these off, and I'm going to bring my white piece in. Now, you might think, why aren't you just stamping through my template, right? Well, my template has, even though it's thin, it has some depth to it. And if I try to stamp through it, I might not get a nice even pressure. So I'm taking this off, putting this in its place. I just want to line that up the best I can. Now, this isn't terribly important that it's exactly where you want it, because you're going to take this and cut it on the die cutting machine. But I'm just trying to do this because if you were doing this with a different kind of card where it did matter, you'd want to be careful. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp my guy on his back first. So I'm just going to ink that up. I just happen to be using Memento because it was on my table, but you could use your Stays On or any other color. Right? They don't have to be black cats. I just happen to be doing black. Now, one of the reasons I like to do these images with my Stamparatus as well is I find that with big solid images, sometimes I don't get great ink coverage the first time. Now, maybe that's me. Maybe it's that I don't keep my ink pads really, really juicy. Maybe it's the image itself. I don't know, right? All these things can have different effects. But can you see how this cat kind of looks shaded out right now? Maybe you want them like that. Maybe you want them to have a lot of texture. I want my guys to be really solid though. So I'm going to re-ink my image, and because nothing has moved, I can put a second layer of ink down. So that's kind of a nice perk. with the Stamparatus. If you try to do that freehand with a stamp, you probably wouldn't get a very good match. Even with the photopolymers, where you can see through, it's still going to be really hard to get him exactly lined up. Okay, so I've actually done this guy 3 times. Let's see how he looks. Nice and solid. Okay, good. Now watch. If I flip this one over, this is going to stamp over that kitty. Now I could just not ink that portion, or I can be careful and I'll just use a Post-it. Slide off my magnet there, and I'm just going to cover my little kitty cat up. Just cover him up, right? We're masking him off. So now when I stamp, it's not going to matter if it overlaps. Alright, so now I'm just going to ink up the cats on this side. And I really only need the parts that are going to show in the circles, but I'm not going to guess. I'm going to ink it up as best I can. Okay, so now I'm going to flip this and press. And I really press. I mean, that's another nice thing with the Stamparatus. There's no rocking and rolling happening. You're not going to get edges, even if there's ink on the edge of your stamp. Right, you just give it a nice solid press, and it's going to give you really nice results. So, I don't use my Stamparatus all the time, but I do with my large background stamps, or if I think I'm going to want multiple layers of ink. Alright, so I'm good there. Okay, so I was able to stamp it multiple times with my Stamparatus. Okay, so now I'm going to take all this off. Okay, and then because this is a video and my table shakes and all this good stuff, I'm just going to close this up, and I'm going to tell you, now I would take it to my die cutting machine and cut out my cats. So, let's pretend for a minute. So I would take this to my die cutting machine, I have my die, I would just line this up so that once again, my kitty cats are in their windows. I would run that through my die cutting machine, and I would end up with 3 die cut cats. Okay? Easy peasy, movie magic. There we go. Alright, so now I've got that. So the next thing I had to decide was, what did I want to put in the little holes, right? The little holes. So the demo swap I got had cardstock, right? So she probably just cut another layer of red, right? And she put them back in the holes. I decided I wanted to use some designer series paper, and I chose this piece from the Country Floral from the spring catalog, and all I've done is cut 3 1x1 squares. So those will fit behind my little circles in my die front and fill in those spaces, so there won't be blank spaces. So there's that. Then I got to choose what color I want to do for my front. I decided to go with blue. Now the blue in this paper is balmy blue. It's not my favorite color, so I decided I want to be a little more bright with it, so I went and picked up the Tahitian Tide, okay, which is our in color. Now, it's not the same blue, but it's pretty close. And for those of you who have been stamping for as long as I have, do you remember Tempting Turquoise? Really wonderful blue. This is just a shade lighter, shade brighter than our Tempting Turquoise. So if you've got Tempting Turquoise, I bet you could pair that up too. So those of us who have retired cardstock in our vast collection. Then after I run my Tahitian Tide, okay, this is Tahitian Tide, once I ran that through my die cutting machine, just like I did before, then I ran it through my same machine, but embossed it this time with the brick and mortar. So my front has a textured panel to it. Alright, everybody with me still? Okay, so now I've got my card base. I decided to stick with black. I thought it looked sharp, but you could change it. Alright, your cards, make them your way. So I've got my panel here, and I've got all my pieces that are going to go inside. Now I'm going to pop up my Tahitian Tide on dimensionals, and something I found with this die is there's a lot of holes in it, right? So you really need to give it some support so it doesn't kind of like, you know, squeeze and feel flimsy. You want it to have a little bit of body to it. So I'm just going to add dimensionals kind of all around and help give it some bulk. Alright, so pull all those off. Well, do I want to pull them off yet? Yeah, I can pull them off. Alright, so hopefully this works out. did this on a different video for my demo group, and I didn't pull them off yet, but we'll cross our fingers that I can do it this way. Okay, so this is going to go on just like this. Alright, so let's see. So I'm going to bring my green glue, and I've got these little pieces, right? The pieces are sliding in to these holes. So what I'm going to do, I hope, is I'm going to put a little dab of glue there, just a little bit. I'm going to slide this in. Now I'm sliding it along the top cardstock so it doesn't get glue on the front. Slide this up. See, now I got a little glue on the front. Use your pick tool or use your scissors and just scooch it along. Now it's going to go past that hole, so it's okay that I have a little glue there. And then this one, I'm going to go in. Oh, come on, don't give me trouble on the last one. Come on, go in there. Let me peek. Maybe I can get it in this way. Remember I said I was hesitant about putting the dimensionals on first? Okay, so here's my fix. I'm going to cut that dimensional, put this in, and then I can just put a replacement dimensional on that one corner. So sometimes even when you've made something a couple of times, you do it a little different, and then you say, oh, that's why I didn't do it that way. Well, that's why I should have put those down first. Okay. So it worked out on 2, but not the third one. So now I've got my little Designer Series paper squares behind that. Now my little kitty cats, before I put them in, I'm going to go ahead and color their hearts. So I'm just going to come in with my coordinating Tahitian Tide marker, and I'm just going to add some color to the hearts that the kitties are hanging on to and playing with, just for a little pop of color. And then I'm going to add the kitty cats in the same way. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in those little holes, and I'm going to add my cats back. So this guy goes in the big hole, just like that. You know what? I stamped him on the bottom, but I'm going to put him on the top, because this one looks like he's rolling around, so I think he should go on the bottom. So there's my 3 playful kitties. Okay, so now we need a sentiment. So here we go for the sentiment. I'm bringing this guy back in because I would have some scrap paper, right? I always have scrap paper around. So what I want to do is I want to do some selective stamping. And where's my stamp? Uh-oh. Well, darn it. I know it was just here, and now I can't see it. Oh no. Alright, so anyway, so we have this stamp set here. It actually says, "Hi there, Valentine." Oh, it's right here. See? I'm blind sometimes. I'm sure you guys do that too, right? You go, where's that thing I was just using? And it's right in front of you. I'm not alone. Right? Leave me a comment. I'm not alone. Alright, so here's the "Hi there, Valentine." We're going to do some selective stamping. I'm going to take my marker, and I'm just going to ink up the "Hi there." Just going to ink up the "Hi there." Okay? Now whether it's on a piece after you've die cut this, or whether it's on a different piece of scrap, I'm just going to stamp my "Hi there." Okay, now because I didn't ink the Valentine, I didn't get the Valentine, which is just fine. And because I've already got this die out, I can take this to my die cutting machine and line up that piece of scrap and just die cut that one circle. Okay, just die cut that one circle, and after you do that, I've got my little sentiment that just says, "Hi there." So that guy is going on a dimensional, and we will pop him on our card. I'm going to put it just right here, kind of like the one I got, and there we go. Then I would line the inside, and then, you know, you could always put in the "I love hanging out with you," whatever you want to put in there, or make it into a different kind of card. You know, "Get well," "Happy," "How are you," a friend card, whatever you needed for it. So I thought that was kind of cute. So I did. I cased it from another demo, Robin Greer, like I said, but I made it all my own. I changed the color, I changed the texture, I used different papers in my little small circles. I didn't pop mine up on dimensionals. So they're different. They're the same, but they're different. So let inspiration come to you, whether you're seeing it on Pinterest or Facebook or blogs or in our videos, whatever you do, go ahead and case those cards. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's kind of a nice compliment when you say, hey, I saw this great card from so-and-so, you know, share who you saw it with, and then make one of your own. So there you go, guys. There's my fun little crazy cat tutorial today, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me comments. Remember, you can subscribe here on YouTube so you don't miss any of my projects. You can also hop over to my blog and see all the links to the various products or the way I describe it out. You can supply this to my newsletter. So however I can help you, please let me know, and I will see you again real soon for some more fun stamping. All right, guys, bye.